let's have a little bit of a discussion based on previous experience with speaking examinations, because no doubt a lot of people here are probably quite intimidated by the speaking test, and they have great stories to share about this. So I'm going to be talking to myself through this. So we're going to ask and answer some questions. Because this is not an actual classroom and I cannot be a teacher and hear your responses, what I would like you to do at home, if you're viewing this, is to look at the questions and see if you can ask and answer them with a partner or a study buddy, or else reflect upon the questions yourself, either in written form, note them down, or even better, say them out loud. After all, we are doing speaking practice today, so the more you say them out loud, the better. First question: how do you feel about examination speaking tests? Nervous, terrified, exhilarated? Now, I've done some speaking tests for tests outside of English before. I think about when I was at school. I did my French A levels and my German A levels, for example, and they were intimidating. They are very, very scary examinations. Probably the worst part of any sort of language test for me is speaking. So I felt all three of these. I felt nervous, I felt terrified, and I felt exhilarated at the same time, because I've always felt like the adrenaline was flowing through my system during these kinds of tests. How would you feel? And if you do feel any of these, how can you take this energy going forward and use it in a positive way as part of the test? Have you previously taken any oral English examinations? If so, what were they and what did you think of it? You've possibly studied for an IELTS test before, you've possibly studied for an OET test, Cambridge, TOEFL, depending on what part of the world you're from, or maybe you've just done some in-house examinations for your school, your university, or your language center. Um, how did you find them? Did you find them fun, relaxing, engaging, or did you find them quite serious and very, very stressful? I have done some English examinations for before in a mock perspective, for example, with IELTS, just to assess my own speaking ability and my own ability to use the language. After all, I am an English teacher, so even though most native speakers are exempt from doing English language examinations, after all, we did learn the language. We have learned the language since we were incredibly young. We decided to do this test just to assess how well we did, and luckily I managed to get a 9 in the speaking, but it still was very, very nerve-wracking, even for me, a native speaker. So I'm sure you guys have felt the exact same thing regarding the speaking tests. Secondly, did you find these speaking tests to be of any use? Did you find them harsh? Did you find them easy? Let us know, and let your partner know as well. What is the one type of speaking activity that you struggle with the most? Now, we have close answers, where you give a very, very short answer for a few seconds based on a common topic. You might have a role play style discussion with a partner. Those are normally quite fun. You might have the long term or discursive answers, where you answer a topic for 1 to 2 minutes. They're quite long and require a good deal of fluency and communication, as well as a good deal of planning as well. Often I find these long, open, discursive questions to be the most difficult for a lot of students. And also thirdly, we might have exercises where you have to talk about a academic topic using academic vocabulary and discursive markers, as well as today's example, which is describe image. How good you are describing the content of an image, and how can you organize your thoughts? Which one do you struggle with the most? Let us know, and let your partner know too. Finally, do you have any speaking techniques that you use effectively in speaking examinations? If so, what are they, and why do they work so well? Now, we're going to cover some of these speaking techniques and tips in the latter part of the video today. But is there anything that you know that you use? Maybe you're nervous. How do you combat those nerves into not detracting from your fluency and your own speaking ability? Do you do well under pressure? Can you utilize that pressure in order to give you that adrenaline boost to speak properly? How do you combat any stutters or stops or pauses in your speech? Are you good at moderating your speed in terms of speaking slowly, steadily, and at a good, even speed? How about your intonation? Is it okay? We'll look at some of these techniques today, and also we'll reflect upon them as we're doing the activities today, so that we can hopefully improve our overall speaking, not just in the exam-based situation that we're going to see today. All right.